Hi everyone, Brad Palladini from Palladini Law. This is the first in a series of videos I'm going to do called Tax Court Takeaways. This case involves the famous rapper Tyga. So in 2019, he filed his tax return and owed $2.2 million, quite the liability. He didn't have the money to pay it, and what the IRS did was issue a final notice of intent to levy. So this is the last notice the IRS is required to send before they could reach into his bank account and take his money, garnish any wages he may have, or go after any assets that he owns. Tyga's attorney filed an appeal. So basically what this did is halted any collection action the IRS could take and send the case to the Independent Office of Appeals. The goal here was to set Tyga up on a payment plan. So the attorney for Tyga provided a financial statement showing what his income was, what his expenses were, and proposed a monthly installment agreement. The appeals officer on the case required Tyga to make estimated tax payments. She really emphasized the importance of compliance, meaning that Tyga file all missing tax returns and make any required estimated tax payments. Without doing those two things, you won't be able to get on an IRS installment agreement. The IRS is more than happy to work with you on old tax debt, set you up on an installment agreement, maybe even settle it through an offer in compromise, but they want to see that this problem is in the past and that is not going to occur again in the future. And to ensure that, they're going to check and they're going to make sure that all of the returns are filed, and they're going to check to make sure that estimated tax payments are being made. In this case, Tyga didn't make any estimated tax payments, and so the settlement officer, the appeals officer, was unwilling to put him on an installment agreement. Now, since the tax attorney had filed a collection due process request, so an appeal, that gave him the ability to take the case to tax court, which he did. But the tax court didn't say anything different than the appeals officer said. Tax court said that, hey, the appeals officer is within his right or her right to deny an installment agreement for not making estimated tax payments. And so the ruling was sustained. So what happens next? Well, given the liability, given that it's over $2 million, the case is probably being handled by a revenue officer, which means that after the tax court case is finalized, the case will get sent back to that revenue officer where Tyga would have another opportunity to set up an installment agreement. However, that's not going to get done unless he makes estimated tax payments. So the takeaway here is, if you want to get on an installment agreement to resolve old tax debt, you got to make sure that you are in compliance. And that means filing any missing returns, any past due returns, and making estimated tax payments. If you don't do that, you're not going to be able to get on an installment agreement. And that is the latest episode of Tax Court Takeaways. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Otherwise, subscribe, lets us know that you like the video, and we will do more of them. Thanks.